the universe of Arafta draws the viewer into a dark and uncertain journey from the very first moment. Silences, echoing voids, and invisible weights whisper of unfinished chapters of the past and suppressed reckonings. Here, every corner, every glance, every posture carries a secret. Although the story seems to be built solely on love or revenge, a much deeper and more complex map of the human soul lies beneath. The atmosphere is intensely and disturbingly woven from beginning to end. The characters' most vulnerable moments, and their most dangerous sides, are juxtaposed. Pain, anger, fear, and hope intertwine. Each emotion sharpens in the shadow of the other. This story reveals not only the events that unfold but also the struggle within oneself. The burden of the past is felt at every step of the characters. Losses, betrayals, and suppressed emotions push them down an irreversible path. At the end of this path, revenge, reckoning, and uncertainty await together. The viewer feels how storms take shape in the souls of the characters, how tension rises even in the quietest moments. Nothing is simple in this universe. Every relationship, every decision, and every glance is like a domino effect. The limits of the human soul are tested by desires and fears. The story goes far beyond what is visible on the surface. The viewer touches the inner worlds of the characters and feels the weight of their choices on their own shoulders. Ultimately, Arafta is not just a love or revenge story. It's a journey that boldly illuminates the dark and fragile points of the human soul, evoking curiosity, tension, and questioning in every scene. Every step is uncertain, every glance a mystery, and this draws the viewer into the story, completely immersing them. Those who want to find out what Eights will do can subscribe to my YouTube channel to follow this exciting story. The tension continues to grow, step by step. Mercan, beyond being a character caught in the middle of darkness, represents a soul trapped between light and shadow. Her existence seems out of place in the harsh and merciless order of this world, as if she fell into the wrong life at the wrong time. The fragility she carries doesn't weaken her. On the contrary, it becomes a silent testament to her struggle to stand tall after every blow. Mercan isn't someone who succumbs to her experiences, but she doesn't loudly proclaim her resistance either. When she becomes a part of the system Eights has established, Mercan finds herself at the center of a game she never wanted. While tossed about between others' plans, she is drawn into a journey where her own decisions are tested. Fate, instead of being a predetermined line for her, transforms into an unknown that reshapes itself at every step. In this process, Mercan strives not only to survive, but also to remember who she is. Her greatest struggle is not with the outside world, but within herself. Her fears, silences, and suppressed anger gradually evolve into an inner strength. Her silence is not an escape, but a waiting, a form of resistance that grows within patience, biding. It's time for the right moment. Mercan is a character who learns to live with pain without allowing it to define her. Her innocence becomes less of a protective armor, and more of a misconception that others underestimate. Yet, Mercan's true strength lies precisely here, at unexpected moments, appearing in the most inopportune places. She possesses the power to shift the balance of power. Therefore, her role in the story is never entirely clear, neither entirely a victim, nor overtly powerful. Mercan represents an existence oscillating between these two extremes, a presence with blurred boundaries. As time progresses, Mercan's presence begins to transform everyone around her. Her silent resistance shakes the foundations established by others. Her very existence becomes a threat to certain plans. Perhaps, the real question is Mercan someone forced to endure what happens to her in this story? Or is she unknowingly rewriting everyone's destiny? The answer lies in a single step she takes. What do you think will happen in the new episode? Please, don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. the story continues to become even more exciting with you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to watch breathtaking new episodes. Even the supporting characters, who aren't central to the story, create a menacing atmosphere with the shadows they carry. Their presence is often silent, even invisible. However, this silence creates unease rather than reassurance. Each of them moves forward with obsessions, repressed desires, and unfinished business, all nurtured within their own inner world. These characters make you feel they can inflict harm without speaking openly. Their intentions are hidden, not in words, but in glances. Jealousy, one of the most poisonous emotions in this world, slowly poisons everyone's steps. The tension hidden behind seemingly innocent closeness reveals that relationships that appear to be friendships are crumbling from within. Who knows? Who is truly close to the moment? Who is simply waiting? Who is biding their time? None of these questions find clear answers. Uncertainty makes the relationships between the characters more fragile and dangerous. Hidden agendas form the unseen backbone of the story. Past events, unspoken words, and postponed confrontations continue to overshadow every decision made today. Each character seems to harbor a plan, an expectation, or a desire for revenge. It is unknown when these agendas will be revealed. However, it is felt that when they are, they will lead to irreversible ruptures. Silences are as heavy and meaningful as words. Prolonged glances, unfinished sentences, and unspoken truths are like harbingers of an approaching storm. The tension accumulating in these silences is ready to explode at any moment. Even the calmest moments conceal a great conflict, because no balance is permanent in this world. When all these elements come together, it becomes clear that the supporting characters have not only a complementary, but also a decisive role in the story. A single step they take, a single word they say, or a single secret they keep, has the power to upset all the balances. The danger doesn't come openly, it approaches subtly. And that's precisely what's terrifying. While everything seems fine, everything could fall apart at any moment. As the story progresses, what remains are not definitive answers, but questions echoing in the mind. Nothing becomes completely clear. On the contrary, the uncertainty deepens. Can love exist in the dark shadow of revenge? Or is that shadow destined to poison every emotion? Can a person truly love while living with the burden of the past? Or does every love remain somewhat incomplete, somewhat wounded? These questions silently but powerfully persist at the heart of the story. The concept of fate here appears not as a fixed destiny, but as a constantly tested realm of will. As the characters try to deviate from the paths drawn for them, they are forced to pay new prices. Everything they try to change drags them into an even greater reckoning. At this point, the question remains unanswered. Is fate a necessity to be submitted to, or a possibility that can be courageously rewritten? The story's power stems precisely from this ambiguity. There are no clear lines. The boundaries between good and evil, right and wrong, innocence and guilt are blurred. The characters are neither entirely immersed in darkness, nor entirely able to reach the light. Each is trapped between these two extremes, forced to confront their own conscience and past. Therefore, instead of offering comforting conclusions, the narrative opens up a space that forces the viewer to think. Unanswered questions, unfinished accounts, and incomplete emotions make the story's impact even more lasting. The viewer not only observes what is happening, but also becomes a part of this questioning. Ultimately, asterisk in limbo. Asterisk represents a threshold, rather than a clear ending. This story takes place in a world that is neither completely surrendered to darkness, nor reached the light. Precisely for this reason, it steers the viewer away from definitive judgments, leaving them with the uneasy, but striking feeling of being in between. To follow Mercan and Aitz's adventures, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next videos. Please, don't forget to like, The video.